Pooja directly. We will not be addressing any questions, personal questions and direct questions here. It's only for information purposes only. And we're just covering this executive order of immigration suspension and all the details, whatever we have so far. And she's gonna try her best to cover everything, whatever information she has, and address all of your questions so to the best ability. So just a couple of minutes more. And by the time, if you want to write down her number to reach is 732-283-7400. I'm gonna write in the chat as well.
And the alternative to that is, because right now the office is closed, the second best method is the email address.
Pooja, you can type in the chat box.
Oh, I can? Okay.
Yeah, you can type in the chat box so everyone can see it.
Perfect.
Or I'll do it. Okay. I'll request everyone also to, during this webinar, please mute yourself so that it does not disturb the flow of the webinar. And I think we're gonna start. People are joining in. That's great. We have lots of participants. I know this is a very, people are very curious about this topic. People have lots of questions about this.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I know.
Okay.
Here today on call, Ms. Pooja Mehta, who is attorney in New Jersey, Islin. They have an office, and we are husband-wife team, Deepak Bansal and Pinky Bansal. We are realtors. So we invited Pooja to speak about this because this is very new and pressing topic, and everybody has so many questions regarding this. So we are trying our best to cover this as much as we can. So Pooja, what do you think? Should we start? It's 7:04.
Yeah, I think it's good. How many people do we have on right now?
31 people.
31. So I think that's okay. Or do you want to wait?
So let's start.
Yeah.
Let's start. In the chat box, I have Pooja's phone number and the email. So let's start. So Pooja, for everyone, I'll just give a very brief, introduction of Pooja. Pooja has worked in the areas of personal injury, contract law, and then finally found her niche in immigration services. And she has partnered her firm in 2019 with Dalal and Mehta in New Jersey. And that's when they opened her practice as well. Now this firm handles all the immigration matters and except employment cases. So you can also find this firm on the Facebook page. So again, we have a disclaimer that Pooja told me. This is just for information purpose only. Any specific question, please contact Pooja directly. This is not for establishing any attorney or client relationships. Okay.
Correct.
And anything else you want to join, Pooja? Add here?
I mean, I think you summarized it well. Again, this is completely generalized. The questions that we're going to be answering later on are going to be generalized answers. So I don't want anyone to be leaving today thinking, well, that attorney told me, so that's why I did it. We're providing quick answers, generalized answers, but really, ultimately, you need to speak with me or with somebody else. Really make sure that all the facts are applicable to your specific case.
Yeah, I would request don't share your personal details in a form of question.
Yes.
Just, ask what are the general timelines, what attorney thinks in a general perspective. And if you have some personal question, you can reach out to them offline. That would be the best way to go from here.
Definitely. Yep.
And this is brought to you by Deepak and Pinky Bansal, the Bansal team. We are realtors at Keller Williams Cornerstone Realty in Belmead. So if you have any real estate related questions, and if you know anyone who needs who has any questions related to real estate, you have our information on the page as well. I'm going to put that. So let's start with that. So Pooja, first I'll really ask you to just summarize first of all what this execution suspension order is about, what it is covering and what it says, because I'm sure people are so concerned about it and how it's going to impact people. And then I'm going to cover some more important questions.
Sure. So in essence, the people that really need to be concerned are non-US citizens, people who are green card holders. There are two types of visas. One is called an immigrant visa, meaning a green card where you are coming here to stay permanently. That is a visa in itself. It's a permission. That's what a visa is. Or there are non-immigrant visas where you're telling the government that I just want to come here temporarily for some time and then go back home. So that could be a tourist visa, a student visa, a lot of, etc. So that being said, the policy that's been issued only affects the immigrant visas, meaning the green card applications. And the non-immigrant visas do not have to worry, which means all of you who are on H1, L visas, other, non-immigrant visas, you don't have to worry. The other reason why you don't have to worry is your green card applications are going to be processed in America, not in India. So what's secondary to remember is that this policy affects people who are outside of the USA trying to file for a green card and come into the country. So ultimately, who can come in? People who are spouses of US citizens, people who are minor children of US citizens. What that means is that the child should be one. There are certain rules for children, which we can discuss offline. That's not something to discuss today. However, that in essence, those are the two categories that are being allowed to come in. If you're related to a green card holder, you're stuck for the next 60 days, if not more time. There are limitations if you're under the EB5 investor visa category, or you're directly related to the coronavirus in some way, meaning you're coming here as a doctor, a physician, a nurse, a scientist, a researcher, they'll let you in. Or if you have a national interest that the government says, okay, or rather the government has an interest in you to come into the USA and help them. So most people don't fit into those categories, and most of us will be left out.
So just to clarify, Pooja, this is more for the people who are applying for permanent residency, like a green card, or you're calling your wife or your kids if you are on, green card, and you are calling it based on that status. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. It is not related to H-1B visa or student visa or anything like that. Okay.
No.
That's good.
No. Those are all non-immigrant visas.
Got it. Okay. Pinky, go ahead.
So it's not at all affected, even if they are in the status on the H-1B, H-1 visa, business visa, student visa, it's not going to affect to them at all. Pooja, I don't know, we cannot hear you. I don't know for some reason.
I said, it said muted by host. Can you hear me now?
Now I can hear. Yes.
Okay. So in essence, you have to understand what the purpose behind the policy is. The objective is, as Trump says, is to save American jobs. What visa categories allow you to work here in America right off the bat? You can't work here on a student visa. You can't work here on an EB5 right away. You have to get approval first. You can work on an H1, but even with the H1, you have to keep renewing, so they can always reject and cancel your H1 application at a later point. It's only the green card application, once it gets approved, automatically from the minute you get off the plane, from whatever country you're coming from, you have a right to work.
Okay, got it.
That's the objective, yeah.
Okay, I have a question here. Is K1 considered immigration visa? And and of course, like with the K1 also, and with so many H1, K1, and many other who are already in processing. And as you just said, that of course, green card, they can start right away. But many other visas like K1, H1, if they are in processing and if they have to go for, renewal or something, is it going to affect to them with this suspension?
The H1 renewals should not have a problem. However, you have to keep in mind that they should not have a problem under this policy. This is not the first policy that the Trump administration has come out with, and we've seen a trend in denials in H1, for the past year and a half. So is there anything related to this executive order that has to deal with H1s? No. However, H1s have their own issues that are going on. And I will predict that 30 or 60 days from now, you're going to see more limitations. I don't see this policy going away within 60 days. Going back to your second question, you had mentioned K1 visa, the fiance visa. My understanding of the fiance visa is it's that if it is a US citizen that's going to be applying for the fiance visa, remember, it is for a spouse. There is no guidance on this yet, but my prediction is that they will be allowed to come in. But what's the flip side to that? The flip side to that is that the embassies are closed.
Right.
And you can expect mass delays in processing. I mean, this really is nothing but a political stunt. And I'm not just saying that, but it really is, because American embassies all over the world right now have already been closed, primarily since March. And there's no expectation that they're going to be reopening anytime soon. So this is really just a gimmick to show and say, oh, look at what I've been doing to, save American jobs.
Another question I have for you is this suspension permanent or is it temporary?
It's definitely temporary. They've claimed that it's 60 days, but the way that the executive order is worded is that after 30 days, the president has the ability to extend it within 50 days. So if he passes a 50-day mark, it's going to stay. It's going to stay at the 60-day limitation. But he has between day 30 and 50 to extend it to another 30 days. And he's already been saying that over and over again that, I see it possibly going forward even longer.
Okay, so one question I want to ask, so should people still continue to apply, or what is their protocol, like what is the process now?
Absolutely.
What should people do?
No, they need to be applying, because I'll give a quick breakdown. When you're applying for to have a relative come into the country, it's a 3-step process. It doesn't matter if it's right now we're really only dealing with consular processing, which is international processing, meaning they go to the embassy for the interview. But the first step is you file what's called an I-130 in America with an agency called USCIS. That's one branch. The second step is once that gets approved, you get what's called your visa call letter. And that's where you put what people call the sponsored letter, your financial stuff. That's, stage 2, and that's done at the National Visa Center. That's another separate agency under a different immigration branch. So now we're on to step number 3, which is once the National Visa Center processes your application, it goes to the embassy. Now it's important to know those 3 different agencies, because if the embassy is closed right now, right, the executive order directly affects only the embassies. Applications going to USCIS or the National Visa Center are still moving forward.
Okay, got it.
So if you're a spouse or child or brother or sister, or any of the ineligible categories, you should not waste your time thinking, oh, I can't apply over the 60-day period. First of all, a good attorney, my firm, it takes us 3 to 4 weeks just to put the whole I-130 packet together. That's number one. So you need to always be moving. Number two, the processing at USCIS is still going to go on. And then from USCIS, it's going to go to the visa center. And then from the visa center, it's going to go to the embassy. So that process in itself for US citizens takes a year. For green card holders who are applying for their spouse, it can take up to 2 years. So this should not be any reason for you not to speak to someone and file a visa application.
So just to clarify, Pooja, only the step 3 process has been put on hold. The first 2 stages, the step 1 and step 2, are still continuing because they are back-end processes.
Absolutely. And again, there are always delays in every agency, and Corona is obviously creating delays, but I am still getting approval letters for my I-130s. Just over the weekend, I got a letter from the National Visa Center for a green card holder who's filing for his wife. It finally took 2 years, and now the file is current. So 60 days doesn't affect 2-year processes.
Yeah, right now, I think people are just so fearful about their H-1B visas, and especially the people who are here on a work permit.
Yeah.
So that is something.
So I'm getting a lot of questions, Pooja, here. So I'm let's cover a few questions.
Yeah.
Somebody's asking, if someone is in the country on L1 and their I-140 is approved, is there an impact for them?
No, again, it's the same thing. You're, number one, you're in the country, you're not outside. But even if you were outside the country trying to get in, it's a non-immigrant visa. I mean, you can very easily go to the USCIS website and type in L1 visa, and it says L1 is a non-immigrant visa.
Okay.
Now, but that is separate from whatever processing delays, you know, are already in the cycle.
Okay, got it. Another one is there going to be a restriction to apply for I-140 or 485 from L1A? I don't know if that answers that, the same thing.
Same thing. Same answer.
Thing, right?
The I-485 is a green card application. It's the exact opposite. It's the same thing that we do in India with the embassy. It's what we do in America. So again, you're already in the country. The executive order doesn't affect you.
Okay, what will happen to the EB1 India priority date for decision date, and also specifically the filing date?
Well, EB1s, I don't know much about them in the sense of how they're affected by the executive order, other than only EB5s are being allowed in. Okay. So my guess is that you should really speak to someone, or you can call us offline and we can kind of go into the conversation of whether or not your EB1 is going to be affected.
Okay, got it. And can someone with a visitor visa come into US? And will this also impact the green cards which fall under the family category, specifically the F4 category?
Absolutely. I mean, if you're on an F4, I'm sorry, if you're an F4 applicant and you have not already filed an I-130, okay, I'm gonna rewind. The thing is, you still need to apply, because being an F4 on a green card is going to take about, 8 to 15 years.
Right.
So 60-day policies don't make any difference. You still need to file your paperwork. It makes a difference if you're at the end of the cycle and you were coming up for that embassy interview.
Got it.
So I'll give you an example. I have a client who is in the UK, and he has already done everything. He's at the consular processing stage. He, in fact, had an embassy interview, and then the embassy is requesting additional documentation. Right. If I send that paperwork in, he is still stuck for 60 days. He cannot come in because the embassy is what is holding his application now, because he is a green card holder and his wife and kids are coming in through him.
Got it. So this is just for everyone. I think if I'm correct, please correct me if I'm this is just for temporary and it's not affecting the entire process. Just for the first two processes would be the same. The last process is being on hold, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay, the third process is one on hold. So another question somebody's asking, will somebody going to for the counselor interview during this executive order will be rejected, or will they just be delayed? I guess.
I'm sorry. Repeat that. If the counselor.
Will somebody going for the consular interview during this order will be rejected, or will they just be delayed?
Well, first of all, you can't go to a counselor interview because the embassies are shut down. Once they do reopen, and if the ban is still in place, if the petitioner is a green card holder, then yes, you're going to be affected. You're not going to get your interview. But if you're the spouse or child of a US citizen, then it doesn't affect you. And once the embassies are back and running, you will get an interview date. As far as rejections are concerned, they cannot arbitrarily reject you without completing the process.
Got it. Got it. And there was a clause that they will check for non-immigrant visa after 30 days. Any possibility for future restrictions regarding non-immigrant visa?
It's absolutely possible. I don't see it happening because, again, it's election season and the idea is to save the economy. I don't think tourist visas or student visas or the non-immigrant visas are going to be affected because they generate income for the government and for the economy overall. He's going after people who are going to take jobs away from American citizens.
Got it. Some more questions, then I'll come back to another one. Somebody's saying that I'm a US citizen and have applied for my wife's green card application in November 2019.
Okay.
And my wife is still in India. People, please can you mute everyone? My wife is still in India. Does this affect me? Please help.
No, it doesn't. I mean, the only way that you're affected right now is, again, delay processing. I don't know if you've even reached the visa center stage, because if you've applied in November 2019, I mean, it's possible that within 8 months, 7 months, your I-130 could have been approved. But with the delays, I don't see that being approved. So, sir, you have to go through a couple of more rounds before you even get to the embassy. But if you did, no, it still doesn't affect you. You just have to wait until the embassy reopens, and then they'll issue you their interview. And I'll just add, it's extremely important. A lot of clients think that once the I-130 is approved, they don't need the help of an attorney anymore. That's incorrect, because with the new rules regarding public benefits or public charge. I mean, obviously, if you're in India, public benefits don't apply to you because you're in India. But we've been seeing a lot of issues where, because of low income from either party, embassies are rejecting the applications of applicants. So you really need to speak to an attorney to make sure that your finances are presented properly. Sorry for that. So that way you can actually complete the process. So when you do get to the National Visa Center stage, I do recommend you giving us a call so that way we can help you with that.
Great. Yeah, sounds good. Sounds good. I'm having lots of questions and great questions. So they keep coming in, but I'll cover a couple of more questions. But please stop me if you have anything else any important information to give before after the questions are coming. If that's so, please Pooja, stop me, feel free to stop me.
I will go back to one point that you made earlier, the preceding question, I think maybe 2 questions ago. Excuse me, you said someone had mentioned that they have a relative who has a tourist visa already.
Yes, and I think, let me go back to that question.
Yeah. And
can someone with a visitor visa come into US? Is that the one?
That's correct. So if you have a visitor visa, obviously you can come in. However, again, this is where you need to speak to an attorney to really see if this applies to you. However, let's say if you're the wife of a US citizen, or if you're forget a US citizen, let's say you're the wife of a green card holder, and it's going to take you 2 years to just get your I-130 approved. A lot of times what we recommend is the individual can come here on the tourist visa or on a F1 student visa. And then they can maintain their status for the duration of the 2 years. That way the couple isn't apart for almost that 2 to 3 year time frame.
I got it. And how about the family, like parents? Like, for example, if the parents are staying outside and I mean, they're staying all by themselves, and if the kids want to bring them over on visitor visa, as they usually like come, so can they still call them on visitor visa?
So that's another trick that people can use. If your parents already have a tourist visa and you're a US citizen, and let's say you want to apply for their green card, and you can't do that anymore under this regulation, what you can do is you can have them come into the country on the tourist visa. And because there are special categories, okay, so again, this is why we say this is generalized advice. There are special categories where even if you overstay your visa, you can still adjust your status and get a green card in America. So if you bring mom and dad on the tourist visa as a US citizen, you apply for their green card application. Mom and dad stay with you for that 1 year time period until it gets approved, and you have that green card, irrespective of whatever executive order Trump has issued.
Okay.
And again,
Good. Yeah. No,
give us a call and let us know what's going on in the case. You know, these are generalized answers.
Okay, someone is asking, if a H-1B is submitted for stamping in US Embassy in India, will it be delayed or rejected? Of course, I guess it's, as you said, it's closed, embassy is closed. It will be, okay.
Yeah.
How this, I mean, of course, when people has also, you know, worried about this since the election time. So somebody's saying, as per the Trump, H-1 are also taking American jobs. So he might be more tougher on H-1 given the election year. Is that true?
So I honestly am, and that's what I'm anticipating.
But people are worried about their jobs right now, you know?
Yeah. And I think they have a right to be worried. I mean, right now there's nothing on H-1 in this executive order, but that doesn't mean that something can't be coming down the pipe. So if you're on an H-1, you really need to start thinking about option 2.
Got it. So do you think that this is kind of a worrisome thing?
What do you mean by option 2?
Option 2, yeah, I'm not very clear either.
By option 2, I mean, I think they need to start thinking of, you know, should they go back home? What are they going to do if their H-1 gets rejected? What happens if, you know, right now there's nothing going on in the executive order, but that doesn't mean that something cannot come about later. The statistics, I think, right now are that this is the largest unemployment time period. It's significantly already surpassed the 2009 economic crisis. So
correct.
When you have millions and millions of people that don't have a job, right? Especially given this administration, they have no incentive to continue to allow H-1s to thrive. So using that logical reasoning, that is where I say that I really advise all of my H-1 clients. We don't have a lot because we don't do employment immigration, but I advise them that you need to start thinking of, you know, what school your kids can go to in India, or where you need to go home, or if God forbid you do have to leave and your H-1 doesn't get renewed, what should you be doing? You shouldn't just be thinking that, well, this executive order doesn't apply to me, so I'm okay, because something else could come down, and we've already seen that over the past 3.5 years.
Got it. Okay, and
so this essentially impacts all the renewals.
I'm sorry, I think someone has their mic on.
Yeah, somebody's saying that this is essentially affecting all the renewals.
No, it's not. Again, listen carefully. The executive order is only tailored to immigrant applications, green card applications. But that doesn't mean that there cannot be a policy later on or pre-existing policies. There are already policies in place that are limiting and curtailing H-1 extensions or renewals. So I don't want everyone to have blinders on and only think of this executive order when there have been so many other executive orders in the preceding years. But let's get off the topic of H1 if we have any other questions that need to be answered.
Yeah, I think that's most of the questions are coming.
Or are they mainly?
Parents, I mean, some asked about the parents. There's one L1 question just came in. I'm going to read. A couple of questions in relation to L1 visa, and L1 is a non-immigrant visa. However, it is a dual intent. Anyhow, since the main category is non-immigrant, this EO doesn't impact. Please confirm. Second question is, how does EO affect for those who have already obtained a valid L1, L2 visa, but did not travel to US due to travel restrictions or so? Please explain.
Well, I'll start with the second half of that question because it's a little bit easier. So the L1, L2s, if you've already been approved prior, and you haven't traveled, I think you have, I mean, and don't quote me on this, check your stamp, but I think you have 1 year or 6 months to travel within the time of that stamp. So make sure that you travel during that time frame. And if you don't, then you need to see an attorney. On the first part of the question, I'm just pulling it up right now. They said L1 is a non-immigrant visa. That is correct. However, it is dual intent. Yes, that is also correct. Since the main category is non-immigrant, does this executive order impact it? No, exactly. They've answered their own question. The L1s are not affected by this because it's a non-immigrant visa. The dual intent, which I'm not going to get into, they can private message me about that, does exist, but it's one of those legal contradictions that exists, and everyone's okay with it.
Sounds good. Okay, and there's one, how will it affect the people who is coming on permanent green card, and what will be the procedure if a visa is expiring during the suspension period?
So that question is unclear because I don't know if when they say visa, they mean a tourist visa or the green card.
I'm not sure.
visa.
I'm just reading the question, and it's from Pooja 8. I don't know whoever is this. Can you please clarify your question? I'm gonna try to cover. It's on green card. She says green card. I don't know.
So I'm sorry. What's the question?
Once I will unmute you, you can ask later.
Okay. And if we don't get to the questions, I see a lot of people saying, again, you guys are welcome to, contact us.
Call her. I'm going to give her email and also her phone number. You can directly call her for your specific questions. She's very willing to answer all of your questions on one-on-one. Okay?
Yes.
So another question is, what will be the impact in case I-140 is approved and the L1A extension is denied?
Again, this is not related to the executive order.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. For consular interview of parents of U.S. citizen, if this ban is in place, will they refuse an immigrant visa or delay it until this ban is removed? I guess
again, they cannot arbitrarily deny until the process is completed with embassy processing. However, like we said, U.S. citizen parents of U.S. citizens, the ban does apply to them.
Okay, sounds good. So we have very great questions that came in. I'm just curious myself that are there any ways around the suspension? So
I'll go to the parent question for the U.S. citizen. There is one way around it. We already discussed, bringing people in on a tourist visa, and then you can apply for their green card application. Again, that's a very limited group of people. The petitioner has to be a U.S. citizen, but to go to the individual who is applying for their mom and dad as a U.S. citizen, what they can do is, if mom and dad have a tourist visa, already. They probably won't get it now because of dual intent. But if they have a pre-existing tourist visa, I would recommend them to come into America, file what's called an I-824, I believe is a number, I'm not sure. But if you file that document, what it does is it transfers the case from the embassy to America. And then what you can do is you can adjust their status here in America with USCIS, because remember, there's two ways to do the process, either in India or in America. And then that's one way to go around the suspension.
Would that process be shorter since they are in US?
It probably will not be shorter. Once the case has been transferred from embassy to America, that process will be short. But the time frame to get it from India to America can take up to 6 months. So people really need to make a executive decision. You know, if this travel ban continues, it might be in their favor to bring mom and dad here, file that 824, and then hopefully adjust their status. And remember what we said earlier, a tourist visa is only valid for 6 months, right, for America. However, parents of US citizens, even if they overstay, they still are protected under the law and can adjust their status. Not everybody can, but parents of US citizens can.
Can somebody switch from a consular process over to the adjustment of status?
Yes, that's what we just talked about. Once they're here, if they have a tourist visa, if they have that B1, B2, they come to America, and then they can file a special form, and we can switch it from consular processing to the stateside processing, adjustment of status. Again, you need to speak to me or some other immigration attorney, because we have to figure out the timeline. If that transfer of the file doesn't come from India to America in time, and your tourist visa, your B1, B2 is out, and you're not protected under the law, then it might be better for you to just stay in India. That's an analysis that we would have to do one-on-one.
Wow, that's important.
Another question, if the parent, they have not gone through the security, like the police check and all that, would that be done in US once it get transferred here?
Yep.
Okay.
It just, everything that was happening in India, everything just gets canceled.
Oh, wow.
What I would recommend is, I would recommend you do something. Again, this is why this is generalized advice, and you need to contact us. I don't recommend doing the transfer of the case if you're already scheduled for an embassy interview. You might as well wait out the 60 days and then see when you're going to get the interview. Meaning, if you've already gone through step 1 and step 2 and you're ready for step 3. But if you're at step 1 or if you're at step 2, then it might be more favorable for you to just apply, bring mom and dad here, and then transfer the case here.
Okay. Somebody's asking, can you still apply for labor I-140 in US, right? I guess you can still apply. That's what we have discussed. You can still apply, right?
And I mean, nothing in America has been stopped. It's only abroad.
Another question, would you please let us know if someone who has been on GC, which they got through citizen spouse, been on GC since 2010, which expires 2022, however, have been eligible for citizenship since long time, can they still apply for citizenship and get it? Would there be any impact on GC holder?
No, I mean, this doesn't affect anything to do with citizenship. I've been getting a lot of questions privately about that as well. What I will tell them is, again, they need to speak to an attorney, because there are rules for even applying for a citizenship application. So you have to make sure that your background is clear. You have to make sure that you've been within the country for a certain amount of time. You have to make sure even drunk driving tickets are, which are quasi criminal, they're not really criminal tickets, but it's quasi, that can affect your application. If you're a man and you haven't registered for selective service, which most people don't even know what that is, and you're under the age of 30, that can stop you from getting your citizenship application completed. So again, it's not as simple as it seems, and you need to speak to someone.
Okay. And if we receive money from the stimulus package, would that in future affect a green card application under public charge rule or self-sufficiency rule? I don't know.
That's actually a really good question. Would it affect public charge? I am going to make a educated guess and say no, because the public charge rule has very specific guidelines to it. However, law is changing all the time, and I would not be surprised if, take it from one hand and take it back from the other hand happens.
That's true. That's true. So another, how will the
and actually,
yeah,
I think the one of my paralegals just brought up a good point to me that I didn't even remember, was the stimulus package only applies if you're already a US citizen or green card holder. So if you're applying for your green card, the only way it would affect you is, let's say, if you're going to be a joint sponsor on someone else's petition. So meaning, I am a green card holder, I am filing for my husband to get a green card, and I received the stimulus package. But the person under examination is not me. It's going to be my husband, who has not received the stimulus package because they don't have the proper status. So I don't know if that makes sense. I mean, it's a brief answer, but it's important to remember that who qualifies for what, and the stimulus package only applies to green card holders and citizens, not aliens.
Okay, and then along the same, can it be switched to adjustment to the adjustment of status, like, can...
Sorry, repeat that again?
The question is, like, if any case has been applied for consular processing, can we switch to adjustment of status?
Well, that's what we just discussed.
Yeah, I just wanted to confirm. Right.
And then perhaps they didn't hear it. You can transfer the case, but you really need to speak to me or someone, because at a certain point, I recommend don't even do that. There are certain categories that should not do that. So reach out to me privately and we can have that discussion.
Sounds good. Well, and one is asking, my case is like my permanent is in process, and now it is in privilege wage determination stage. Is that going to affect because of the executive order?
You're in America, it's a non-immigrant visa. Look, I don't know, but I'm not going to comment on the technicalities of whether it's going to get approved or not approved. But this conversation is, again, does the new suspension executive order affect your perm application or your I-140? The answer to that question is no.
I have another question. I have a H-1B visa. My mom already has a stamped visitor visa. Can she come to US and stay here for 6 months?
The H-1B visa has no bearing on mom's B-1, B-2. Mom's B-1, B-2 is independent, and mom can come even if she didn't have a son. The B-1, B-2 is just a tourist visa.
Got it.
And I would recommend, my firm also manages the applications of tourist visas. So making sure that certain financial requirements have been followed, making sure that the invitation letter is proper, being able to show, the key part of the analysis is tangible routes to India. A lot of people hired these agencies in India, these, I don't know what they're called, but basically they're agents. They're not attorneys, they're not trained, they're laymen who just have done a lot of tourist visa applications, and people pay them lots and lots of money, thousands of dollars, to complete the applications for them. And then at the end of the day, nothing happens because they're not aware of the changing law. So what we have done to mitigate that is we will prepare the tourist visa application or whatever non-immigrant visa application you're going to apply for, and then we mail it to India, and then the individual submits it to the embassy over there. That way there's a higher chance of success.
Got it. So, and one of the question that is the EAD and the payroll can be renewed. Can they renew it? Advanced payroll?
A parole, yeah, well, again, generalized answers. I'm presuming this is an individual who's on H1 and wants to renew their work permit and advance parole. Yes, if you're in America and you have a work permit and advance parole, for most categories, you should be able to renew it, but you need to reach out to me. And one big recommendation that I will say to any individual, again, it's generalized and I don't know the specifics of each person's cases, but I do not recommend leaving the country under any condition, even if you have advanced parole, because at any time the law can change or you can have issues on your return into the country. So if you don't have to leave, don't leave. I have an applicant right now who is stuck in India. She's left America to go on advanced parole. And now the problem is that everything is obviously shut down. Her advanced parole expires in June, and I don't know how to bring her back. I mean, we have filed paperwork, but the reason why I say I don't know how to bring her back is, what if USCIS doesn't approve our request in time? She's going to go out of status. She's going to have issues coming back into the country, and it's going to create a big mess. So if you have advanced parole, don't leave. It's not worth it.
What are the chances of this being more than 60 days? Is there going to be extension of this deal?
I mean, in my opinion, very high.
Oh, really?
In my opinion,
Okay.
because the trend that we've seen in immigration is Trump starts with these small little things and then he escalates and escalates. I mean, if you look at the quote unquote Muslim travel ban, that's the informal title of it, it grew from the original, I think, 5 or 7 countries, was it? And if you do a quick Google search today, I think it's well over 15, 20 countries that have been added to it quietly, and nobody knows about it. So there's a pattern in this administration to start small and then keep adding and adding and adding on.
Wow. So somebody's asking the same thing, even if, is it gonna stay like this, even if the EO keeps renewing? And even if the government changes in November, does this executive order becomes invalid?
It only becomes invalid if the new president invalidates it. So if we have Trump again, he's not going to invalidate it. If we have a Democrat in the House, I would say 90% they will invalidate it, because it really should not exist.
Well, we have really nice questions. Again, I'm gonna, I have sent, I'm sending the email and her Pooja's phone number to directly, is Pooja, this is your 7400, your cell phone number, your office number?
That's the office number. That's the office number.
Okay, so email is the best way and Facebook page is the best way to reach you?
Exactly. I mean, if you send me a message on the Facebook page, we can do a quick chat and then I can send you my cell phone number. I'd just rather not have my private cell phone number blasted.
Yes, of course. Of course, we respect that. And thank you so much. Any questions? I think you have covered so many, and I really appreciate everyone for being on the call. And there were so many nice, great questions. I know people were curious. We have over 40 people on the call, and plus Facebook.
Wonderful.
Yes, and I think questions are still coming up.
Yeah, I see that.
Like somebody's asking, applied for GC on the basis of my spouse being a citizen and my F1 is expiring next year, 2021. Would it affect? Just last, I think I'm taking this last question.
Sure. Okay. If the husband is a US citizen, which is what I think that individual said, and they're applying for a green card for the wife is here on F1.
No, I repeat it again. I applied for GC on the basis of my spouse being a citizen.
Correct.
Yes. And my F1 is expiring next year, 21.
Correct.
Would it affect?
So this is not a Trump suspension rule analysis, but spouses of US citizens, if they are adjusting their status stateside, meaning in America, and they have basically gone over the term of their visa, their F1 or whatever it might be, just like the parent analysis that we did, they are protected by the law. Now, here's the trick to that. We can file the I-130, which is the green card application, I-130, I-485, that's a green card application. But during that time frame, let's say if the two of them get divorced, then they don't get the green card. And then the wife is out of luck because she is now left here without any status. It doesn't matter if at one point she did, but now she doesn't. So she really needs to, they need to come and they need to talk to us. Can she file? Yes. Should she file? I have to speak to them.
One question we had was, how will the suspension will affect the immigration visa expiring during the suspension period?
So if it's an immigration visa, that's usually a green card. And if they're trying to say that the green card is expiring during the suspension period,
correct,
it's going to depend on how they're getting the green card. Because if you already have a green card, follow the analysis here, you've already gone through the whole process of adjustment of status and consular processing. What you're really doing is applying for a renewal, and that's with an form I-90, and the I-90 has nothing to do with this executive order. But again, if that is my understanding of the question, if that's not how the question was or what the person intended, then they need to private message me because the analysis doesn't fit.
So my question was actually that my parents, their visa is expiring in May 7, and they're coming because I filed for them. So they are coming as my relative visa, as my parents are coming as a green card.
So your parents' tourist visa, sorry, you were breaking up. Your parents' tourist visa was expiring?
No, not the tourist visa. They are coming on as a permanent immigration visa.
Okay, so green card.
I'm a US citizen. Yes, I'm a US. Sorry, I'm a US citizen, and I filed for my parents, so they are coming.
Well, no. First, let's go to. Is your green card application already approved?
No, I paid for the green card application. I paid the money before they come to United States, so I just paid the money this month.
Did you get an approval of an I-130?
Yes.
You got the I-130 approved. Has your case gone to the National Visa Center? Did you get a welcome letter from them yet? You did. And you sent all the paperwork there and they had their embassy interview?
Yes, they have everything. The visa, they got visa in December 2019. But they had
they
that
already have it. Okay.
Yes, they had that 6 months period to come to United States.
Yeah.
They were going to come in April, but due to this coronavirus, we have to cancel their ticket.
Yeah.
Visa is expiring in May. So what should be the procedure for us?
So you are in a very limited group of people that has no guidance right now. There has been no guidance from the immigration agencies up above to find a resolution to people in your boat. We have taken care of these cases in 2 different ways, which due to the time constraints, I'm not going to get into right now. But their preemptive actions, I don't guarantee success on them, but there are things that can be done. So I'd ask you to just connect with me offline. We can go over it.
I have sent again the number and her Facebook and her email in the chat. I'm gonna post it again. Please make a note of it. And again, I'm will be putting this message and the recording of it on my Facebook page. Please follow it for all the information. The recording of it will be on my Facebook page, the Bansal team at Gmail. The Facebook page is the Bansal team, and Pooja's information, the contact information, so you can reach her on for one-to-one information and chat.
And I'll just add that, you know, Dalal and Mehta individually will also be doing webinars every week now.
Every week, yes. So every week you have a chance to do similar kinds of webinars. Their firm is doing every week. So she'll be posting online. So stay tuned and you will have a chance to have all the information, okay?
Pooja,
Thank
can
you
you,
so much.
now we just have 5 minutes, can you just summarize in general, in terms of, in the general sense, so everybody is on the same page?
Yeah,
instead
any
of,
tips that what should they do or not do? Any tips?
especially the people with H1, H4 visa, and
L1.
people who have their, you know, mother, father, or the kids coming on green card, or a non-immigrant and immigrant visa. Just summarize it in 5 minutes so it can answer a lot of questions that we are not able to cover.
Yeah.
Sounds good. So very briefly, if you're only going to be affected by this if you're in that last stage of the embassy processing period, because every other application time frame takes at least a year to 2 years to get approved. So that being said, number one, don't use this as a indication to yourself that I don't have to apply. Keep applying. I mean, this is a 60-day, maybe 90-day, I don't know how long it's going to be, but you still have to spend a good year to get your case approved. So apply. You shouldn't stop applying. Number two, if you've reached to the point where you're going to be at the embassy processing and you're not the spouse or minor child of a US citizen, you are affected by this. We went over some few categories that are not affected by this: EB-5 applicants, national interest applicants, translators, Iraqi translators, Afghani translators, et cetera, but for the most part, everybody else, you're out of luck. You're going to have to wait until the embassies are allowed to schedule your interview. That does not mean that they're going to reject your case, which is what we kept hearing over and over again. It just means that you're going to have to wait that 60 or 90-day period where the embassies are not allowed to schedule your interview. Going to the H1 category and the L1s and all of those are non-immigrant visas that we discussed. So you're not affected under this executive order. If something changes later on, you know, that's a different conversation to have. Or if you review whatever changes that have already been made in the issuance of the H1 renewals, then obviously you have to follow that guidance. But this immigration suspension only affects people who are at the embassy performing consular processing, and not anyone who's in America on an immigrant or non-immigrant visa. I hope that very quickly.
No, I think you summarized it very well, Pooja. I think we tried our best to accommodate all the questions.
Yes.
Again, the information is here at the bottom of the chat box for Pooja. And, you know, if you want to connect with her directly, I would encourage everyone to do that. And the recording will be provided on our Facebook page.
And what type of like immigration matters do you handle? Just to summarize, if people need to reach you.
So we handle everything from family immigration with these immigration agencies to deportation cases, which are handled in immigration courts. And because immigration law is the same all over America, my practice is really everywhere. We fly all the time to Ohio, Florida, Buffalo for these interviews or for court hearings. So the only thing that we don't touch are employment applications, just because, you know, we're so busy with the court practice and the consular processing stateside practice that we just don't have time for it. But we take on, you know, one or two cases a year or something like that. The other thing that we take care of are appeals, requests for evidences, you know, embassy appeals. So we do all of that work. So pretty much anything and everything under the sun except the employment paperwork.
Sounds good. Thank you so
Thank
much,
you for that
Pooja,
question.
and thank you all the participants for hopping in. And it was a great session, great questions. Thank you so much for your participation.
And
No, thank you for having me. I really appreciate the
Pooja,
opportunity.
for your time. We really, really appreciate it.
I mean, Pooja, if you are willing to do that, we can probably do another interview in a week or two whenever everybody's, time schedule matches. So
Absolutely,
at that
yeah.
time, we can go much deeper and maybe more information will come out in the immigration law so that you can update us.
I'd be happy to, definitely. It was really a great time working with both of you.
Sure. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for joining.
Take care.
Please email us if you want to get the recording, whatever way we can help. Pooja's information is there. If you email or private message her on Facebook, she will respond as soon as possible.
The recording, again, the recording of this session is on the Facebook, the Bansal team, and on my private page as well, the private Facebook page as well, Pinky Bansal. So you can see it there, or you can forward it to your friends and family as well. Okay?
Thank you, everybody. Take care. Stay safe.
Great weekend, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.